Hi guys, welcome back to YOGALATES with SJ, and to this full body weight strength training workout. So this is a 30-minute workout and you don't need anything for this, but encouraging you, if you have one, to grab a ball of some kind, or even just grabbing hold of a little bolster like I have that's quite firm, and we're going to be starting here in a kneeling position. So just bringing the knees about hip distance apart, palms are facing forward, shoulders down and away from the ears, finding a neutral pelvis, and then inhale as you bring the arms up overhead. And then we are bringing the chin to chest, keeping your pelvis in a neutral, and you're coming forward, keeping the belly button to spine, and then coming all the way back up, lengthening up towards the ceiling, and keeping this going. So as you move through this, just starting to find a little bit more length up each time. So it's like you're zipping up from the pelvic floor all the way up that center line, and bringing the belly button back towards the back body. And then you're starting to just keep that neutral pelvis, keeping that core engaged, and then you're bringing the arms forward and then sweeping them back up overhead. So just making sure the shoulders are not coming up towards the ears. Your weight is even through both knees, the tops of the feet. Awesome. Coming back through center, starting to twist towards the right side, and then coming back through center, and then the left side. So gaze is following here. You're reaching the right arm back and then coming back through center, and then the left arm and back through center, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. And I want you to keep the hips square to the side edge of your mat. So you are not twisting through the low body, you are only twisting from the belly button up. And twisting right, inhale, lengthening back through center, exhale, and twisting left. Nice. And then coming all the way through center, reaching the arms forward, and then coming all the way back up to that long line. And then you are reaching back with that right arm. Gaze follows, coming back through center, and then the left, and back through center. Then starting to bring the chin to chest, and you are bringing the arms forward, and then coming all the way back up, lengthening up. Right arm comes back, gaze follows, back through center, then the left. Nice. And then finding that rounding again in the upper back. You're keeping your pelvis in a neutral though, belly button to spine, and reaching back. Inhale, back through center, and coming to the other side. Inhale, back through center. Nice. Just keeping that neutral pelvis and not tucking the tailbone under as you hinge forward. We are keeping length out the tailbone. Nice. Coming up through center, and you're starting to just find some length through the left side as you bring the right elbow towards the waist, and then back through center, and doing the same on the other side. So as we do this, we're still keeping length the whole time, all the way up towards the ceiling. And you're just starting to find an even more open heart here. So the shoulder is coming down and away from the ears, and you've got softness into the elbows, and you're just finding a lifting up and over to that side. And then inhale as you come back up, lengthening up, exhale, coming to the other side. Palms are facing forward. Nice. Finding a little bit more each time. You might find that bit more length through the side waist, all the way from the hip, all the way up to the top of the head, reaching up and then bringing the arms down. So elbows come down, palms facing forward, and then you're starting to bring the hands to fists in front of the face, and then you are uncurling as you come back up. So you're starting to lengthen up the spine, opening the heart, palms facing forward, elbows come down, and then you are rounding the upper back and curling forward. So again, just making sure, guys, that you're not tucking the tailbone. So we're really finding length down through the tailbone, and really we're just rounding into the upper back here. You're keeping the belly button back towards the spine. Shoulders are away from the ears the whole time, and you're curling forward. Belly button comes back. Awesome. We're going to do a quick transition here. We are coming over onto the right hand, and you are stacking the hips, and we're just starting to bring the left toes forward, and then you are bending the knee as you bring the leg back in line. So you've got the hip in line with the outside of the knee. You're bending that knee, bringing the back of the heel towards the pelvis, and then you are straightening the leg out in front and keeping this going. So I want you to make sure here that you're not collapsing down into that supporting shoulder, and you are keeping everything really still, so you're not rocking around in the pelvis. You've got the hips stacked, you've got the shoulders or the shoulder in line with the palm, and you are keeping your core engaged the whole time. So bringing the toes to tap forward, and then starting to bring the leg out to the side. Awesome. This time we're going to stay here, and you're just going to start to close and open out the hips. So you are staying in the position with the hips stacked, you've got your core engaged, and you are opening that outer thigh out, and then you're squeezing the inner thighs together as you draw back in. So relaxing through the jaw and making sure you're breathing deeply in through the nose, out the nose or mouth, and keeping a nice core engagement. Beautiful. Coming all the way up, guys, and then you are starting to bring the right foot out. The arch of the right foot comes out, and you have got the left knee bent, and then you're starting to hinge over to that right side and sweeping the left arm up, and then coming over to the other side and bringing the right arm up, and the left fingertips come down. Beautiful. So it's kind of a nice rainbow of the arm. We are finding a little bit more length through the side waist each time, and you just want to kind of find your weight is even through the center line. So even though you're coming up and over to one side, you're still keeping your core engaged the whole time, and you're finding a really nice stretch from fingertips all the way out the top of the head. Nice. Beautiful. Let's come over to the other side. So quickly transitioning here, we're coming over to the left hand, and you are starting to stack those hips, stacking the shoulders, and you are bringing that top leg forward, and then bringing the leg back out and bending the knee, and then drawing back in. Continuing here with this. So seeing if you can kind of imagine that you're using your core to guide this. So it's your core really kind of engaging and drawing that knee in, and then the toes tap forward, and then keeping that core engagement as you start to bring the back of the heel towards the pelvis and drawing it all the way back. So trying to keep the leg as lifted as you can and not collapsing into that supporting shoulder. Awesome. Let's find that opening out. So just starting to bring the top knee to join the bottom and drawing in and lifting up. Beautiful work. Really bringing your mind to the muscles we're working, guys. So just imagining that you are sort of resisting, so pressing out as you open that outer hip out, and then you are using your inner thighs to draw inward. Nice. And then coming all the way back up through center. Starting to step the left foot out and the toes pointing forward, and you've got a bend into that right knee. We're finding that rainbow up towards the ceiling, and then you are lengthening the top arm and then drawing all the way back up and finding that beautiful long line. Keeping this flowing, keeping this going, breathing deeply in as you come up. Exhale, floating over, just not locking out anything here. So we're really keeping softness into the elbow joints and just letting the jaw relax and finding a beautiful flow. Breathing in, breathing out. Nice work. Coming back through center, you guys, and we're coming down to a tabletop position. And you're starting to just find a core engagement here. We're starting to let the front side of the pelvis come down towards your mat, and you're not locking out those elbows. So we're just finding a half plank here, and then you are keeping length from the top of the head all the way out the tailbone. You're coming down, so doing a little press up, and then starting to press the hips back, and then bringing the hips forward, pressing up, keeping that core engaged, and then pressing the hips back. So keeping this going, you guys, but what I want you to do here is I just want you to make sure you're not tucking the tailbone under as you press the hips back. you're keeping length out the tailbone. So you're kind of finding a really, really neutral pelvis, and you've got the back of the neck in the same line the whole time as the rest of the back. So your gaze is down or slightly forward, and you have got your core engaged the whole time. Elbows go straight back, shoulders are away from the ears, and you're even through the entire body. So the knees are evenly stacked and balanced, and the weight is even through the hands as well. Nice work. Coming all the way down, guys, when you're ready, shifting forward, and we're coming down onto the right forearm, and then you're starting to gaze straight down at your mat, and you are stacking the hips, stacking the knees, and we're just starting to lift up out of the sideways. So it's a very small lift up, and then lower back down, and then lifting back up. So using your oblique muscles to lift you up, and then just lowering down so your hips are, or your hip is just about touching the mat, and then you are squeezing back up. So just making sure you're not collapsing into that right shoulder, and your gaze is straight down. You've got length through the back of the neck. You are keeping that core engagement and working into the side waist. Nice. And now this time we're starting to straighten out that top leg, toes pointing forward, and the bottom knee is bent. And you're starting to lengthen the top arm up, and then you are twisting the arm. So it's a little thread the needle here, bringing the arm down underneath the waist, and then lengthening back up again. So letting your gaze follow this. So we're kind of letting the head rotate around as you start to rotate from the belly button up. So everything else is staying still here. It is just moving through the waist. Nice. Coming all the way back up through center when you're ready, finding a little Z shape with the legs, and we are just starting to sit up nice and tall, lifting up and bringing the left hand to the outside of the right knee, and starting to gaze over the right shoulder, and then we are just finding a beautiful little twist. Beautiful. Let's come all the way over and do the same on the other side. So we need to balance everything out here, making sure we are keeping it all the same. So we're starting to stack the knees, stack the hips, and stack the arches of the feet. And you are coming down onto that left forearm. Your gaze is straight down. You're lifting up out of the side waist, and then lowering that hip down so it nearly touches down, and then drawing it back up. So it's like a lift up through that oblique muscle, through that side waist, and lower back down. Just making sure here that you are not collapsing again into that shoulder, and you have got length through the back of the neck. Jaw is relaxed. Lift it up, squeeze, and lower back down. Nice. Really, really working through the waist. Going to be getting into every muscle as we do in all of the workouts here on the channel. Nice. And now we're coming all the way down, straightening out that top leg, and the bottom leg is bent, the knee is bent, starting to lift up out of the side waist, reaching that top arm up, and then you are threading the needle, bringing the hand down beneath the waist as you start to rotate from the waist up and gazing straight down. Inhale, lengthening back up, lifting the hips up nice and high, keeping that lift as you continue with this. Seeing if you can come up even higher without putting any pressure into the shoulder. You're pressing the forearm down and using your core muscles, your oblique muscles, to lift you up really high here, and keep this going. Make sure you're breathing. Don't hold your breath. Nice. And coming all the way down, guys, and finding that Z shape here, and just starting to twist to that left side. So just bringing the right hand to the outside of the left knee, gazing over the left shoulder. And then as you inhale, sitting up even taller, exhale, unravel. Come all the way back through center, and we are coming to a seat. So you're starting to, if you do have a bolster or a small ball, you can bring that in front of you. Now we're just rolling all the way down, and then we are bringing our prop in line with the heart center, and you are rolling all the way back up. So it is a full roll up, reaching the arms up overhead, and then belly button to spine, rolling the spine all the way down and reaching up, and inhale as the arms come up, back up in line with the heart, and keeping that full extension here, rolling all the way up, reaching forward, and then reversing, coming all the way back down. Nice work. Keep this going. Just making sure that you've got that neutral pelvis here, guys, so you're not tucking the tailbone under and you're not pressing the tailbone into the mat either. You are using your core muscles, not your back muscles for this. So really, really bringing your mind to that. And we're also working into the arms, shoulders, nice. And coming all the way down. When you're ready, taking a moment here, you can bring your prop to come onto the front side of the hips. We're just starting to come to a bridge. So just lifting up the pelvis towards the ceiling as high as you can. And then we're just starting to find a rock from side to side. So you're just starting to rock the hips over to the right and then to the left. And you're just keeping that lift the whole time. So keeping your weight even through both feet. And we are keeping the core softly engaged. You've got length through the back of the head. And you are letting the back of the shoulders soften into the earth here. And keeping this going. It's challenging. Trying not to bring any kind of rotation here into this. So we're really keeping the knees still and we are just letting the hips move this. The core is working. The glutes are working. Make sure you're breathing. Breathing in, breathing out, it really helps. And then coming back through center, lowering back down, rolling the spine all the way back down with control. Nice. And then just starting to bring the arms up overhead as you lift up high into your bridge and you've got the shoulders away from the ears. And you're starting to bring the right knee in towards the heart center, lower it down, and then the left. So keeping that lift up of the pelvis as you start to bring the knee in and then lower the foot back down, and you are rolling the spine back down as the arms come back down. And then inhale, lifting, 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 drawing all the way up, lifting those hips up even higher, and then bringing the right knee in, lower the foot down with control, then the left comes in, lower it down with control, stay lifted, don't drop it down, keeping a neutral pelvis, and then rolling the spine from the top of the back all the way down. Pelvis is the last to come down. Awesome. And inhale, lifting, 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 coming all the way up into your bridge, bringing the right knee in and lower the foot, and then the left, making sure that you're even through both sides, keeping your weight even here, lifting up and then lowering back down, rolling back down. Back of those shoulders are softening into your mat. Jaw is relaxed. Inhale, lift it up, lifting, 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 even higher, drawing all the way up from those hips towards the ceiling, and then right knee comes in, using your core muscles to draw the knee in, placing the foot back down, and then the left, placing the foot down, stay lifted and roll all the way back down from the top of the back, all the way out the tailbone, releasing down here. Staying here, you guys, and we're starting to just bring the feet out a little bit wider. You're bringing your prop out in front of you, palms facing inward, and then you're starting to just bend through those knees and just let the feet come up. And we're starting to bring the arms up overhead as the back of the heels lower down, and then you are bringing the arms back up in line with the heart as the knees start to come in towards the belly button. So just keeping this going, guys. We're finding length through the back of the neck. The back of the shoulders are connected. You've got your belly button to spine the whole time. We're working through those low core muscles, those low ab muscles, as well as all of the other ab muscles as well. So really getting into all of the parts today. Nice. And make sure you're breathing, keeping your pelvis neutral. So we're not really lifting up the tailbone. We're keeping kind of that lengthening out the tailbone. And we are squeezing in and opening out. Have the arches of the feet together, maybe the heels are together, toes slightly turned out in a Pilates V. Nice. Coming back down, guys, we're finding a tabletop position here. So you've got to bend into the knees, and the knees are in line with the feet. And you are continuing with this leg lower and also bringing the arms up overhead. So as the arms come up overhead, the back of those heels start to come towards the mat, and then you're drawing the knees back towards the belly button as the arms come back to that neutral in line with the heart. Now, as you continue with this, you guys, I really want you to not move around too much. So trying to keep your core engaged the whole time. And really, in regards to the legs, it is a very small movement. So we are keeping the tailbone lengthened out, and you are just drawing in and then starting to come out. Nice. Staying here, you guys, and you're just starting to straighten one leg, then the other, and then we are starting to bring the feet down towards your mat. Bringing your prop onto your belly, and then starting to find a kind of a tabletop here position with the legs, gluing the legs together, and then we are starting to bring the prop up overhead, and then you are toe tapping the right toes down, and you are then toe tapping the left toes down. As you continue with this, you can add in the arms, so you can start to bring your prop towards the bent knee that is in a stationary position, and then bring the prop back up overhead and keep this going. So you're keeping everything still. The only thing that's moving is the arms as they come up overhead and the toes tapping down. So we have got that beautiful long line all the way out the tailbone, and you are using your core muscles to start to draw in, and then keeping that control of the core, belly button to spine as the toes tap down. Nice. And then coming all the way back through center, and we are bringing the prop between the feet and just starting to lengthen the legs up as you start to draw the tailbone down. So you're kind of grounding down through the pelvis here. Bringing the arms down by your sides, and we are just finding a softness into the knee joints. And then we're starting to just let the feet come down a little bit, and then draw back up through that center line, and then coming back to that neutral, and then coming over to the left, and then in through center, and then to the right, and then through center, just to keeping this going. So what you're really essentially doing here is just kind of drawing a cross and just finding that core engagement the whole time. You're also keeping a length out the tailbone, and you're keeping your belly button to spine the whole time. You can also, if you prefer to, just start to make little circles here with this. So just circling in one direction and then the other. Nice. And then when you're ready, we're just starting to bend through those knees, drawing the knees in, and then coming back to that neutral and lengthening the legs up towards the ceiling as you lengthen the tailbone down towards the end of your mat. So we're using our core here to draw those knees in, keeping that core engagement as you start to bring the knees away from the heart, and then you're lengthening the legs up towards the ceiling, finding even more length, and just finding that little reverse crunch here as you start to lift the pelvis slightly, and finding a really, really nice strengthening into those core muscles. Nice. We're just keeping this going. Make sure you're breathing. Nice. And coming all the way back. Beautiful. And then just starting to take hold of the outside of the knees. You can just let the back of the heels fall towards the pelvis heavily, and just letting the belly relax down. Maybe you might bring the knees to be about shoulder distance or even wider. Doing anything here that feels really, really nice as you just start to relax down. Maybe just taking a moment here to hold on to the outside of those knees or behind the knees, and just find a really, really nice heavy pelvis, heavy belly. And you might just start to find the knees coming into a neutral position, a parallel position, and then just starting to draw those knees in towards the heart, and then straightening out the arms as you shift the knees away, and then starting to maybe find some circles with this, or you might find a rock from side to side. So anything at all, guys. It can feel really nice to kind of just circle and massage into the digestive organ, so into the belly. You might be able to feel the top of the legs rolling over the belly here. And then just starting to come back through center when you're ready, and we're just starting to keep the knees bent, and you are rocking over to the right side and then over to the left. As you continue to move side to side with this, trying to keep length out the tailbone, your pelvis is heavy, you've got your core engaged the whole time, and it's just a very small movement over to one side and then the other. So you're just keeping that engagement of core as you move with this. Keeping the back of the heels really heavy and relaxed towards the pelvis, and we are keeping the lower back connected down. So you should also be able to feel a really nice little twist into the waist as well. Coming back through center and then maybe moving through the feet, the ankles, and then starting to bring everything down. So bringing the feet down onto your mat, you might grab hold of your prop and just place it underneath the lower back or at the base of the spine, just above the pelvis. Just starting to grab hold of either behind the right knee, or you might reach up and grab hold of somewhere on the right foot as you lower the left leg down, finding some nice length, and then switching it over, starting to draw the left leg in as you start to straighten the right leg out. And then from here, we're just finding a waterfall by just allowing the legs to soften and release up towards the ceiling. Letting the pelvis be heavy, maybe bringing the arms out a little bit wider. You might flip the palms to the ceiling. Letting the tummy muscles relax down, taking some cleansing breaths in through the nose and out the nose or mouth. Enjoying this nice kind of floating sensation, the legs floating in the air. And then just taking a moment here, you might stay in that shape, so you might stay in your waterfall, or you might find a shoulder stand if it's in your practice. Just making sure that if you haven't done one of these before, you just kind of have a look before giving this a go. We don't want you to have the head going either left or right. When you are in this position, in this inversion, you might even come all the way over into your plow, bringing the legs up overhead, the arms down, just starting to relax down here, finding those breaths. Nice. When you're ready, you can just take some time wherever you are to start to come all the way back down. If you're a plow, you might start to come down through a shoulder stand, and we're all meeting in our waterfall. Maybe there's some movement here that you feel to do, and then we're just starting to stay with this and just starting to bring the legs out wide into a split position, and then bending the knees and letting the heels come towards the pelvis, and then we are finding that split position again, so straightening the legs out and then starting to squeeze in. So using the inside of the legs to draw in and then opening the legs out into that split position, bending the knees, the heels come to the pelvis and then lengthening back out, finding a beautiful long line out the toes, and then we are squeezing in. So you can keep this going, guys, and as you do, you might find an even kind of more open hips here as you bring the legs out, just making sure that you're not lifting up the tailbone, so you're really lengthening the tailbone down, and you are just finding a really, really nice stretch out, and then bending the knees, letting the back of those heels be heavy towards the pelvis, and tummy's relaxed, length through the back of the neck. Nice. And then let's go back the other way. So as you bring the legs back in, we're then opening the legs out and drawing in and keeping the legs glued together, and you are finding a pointing up towards the ceiling, and then you are dropping down through that center line. Back of the heels come to the pelvis, and then lengthening back up and opening out, split position, drawing through center, drawing those inner thighs together, and then bringing the back of the heels to the pelvis and coming back through center. Awesome. When you're ready, just starting to come back, and we are bending both knees and just starting to draw those knees in towards the heart center, and you can release your prop if you have one, bringing it out from underneath you and just bringing the soles of the feet onto your mat at a distance that feels really good as we find a windshield wiper of the knees, just rocking those knees from side to side, and just maybe letting the head do the same. The head might roll over to the opposite direction to what the legs are going, finding still that lengthening out of the tailbone, so you've got a heavy pelvis, finding some really deep breaths here, cleansing breaths as we start to relax down. Maybe the arms come out wider, you might flip the palms to the ceiling, softening the fingers, and then coming all the way up when you're ready. And you are all done. Well done, you guys. It was awesome to have you join me. Can't wait to see you again soon.